And hello, 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 greetings and salutations one more time, one and all. Well, I hadn't touched base for a while, and now you can't get rid of me. Hope you don't mind. So today is Wednesday, and here's a shot of the valley and the skies above, just as dusk is beginning to set. I've only recently returned home from another day at the office, and because the weather was considerably nicer than the last couple of days I shared with you, it was sunny, warm, not a cloud in the sky. There were more people out and about as I headed in to work, as well as heading back home. So it seems that as the weather is improving, lockdown measures are beginning to loosen. Having recently returned home, as I mentioned, I was just about getting ready to do a quick workout, some boxercise, and I thought, you know what, why not share just a brief glimpse of how I wrap my hands in preparation for this. And maybe I'll also share a few minutes of what it looks like when I do this kind of workout. So without further ado, I guess we should head inside and we'll get rapping. Okay, see you soon. Alright, so here we are. Bob. Everyone, please bob. Before we begin, I would like to give a quick shout out to my good friend Will, who gifted me with Bob many years ago. Will also showed me the very basics of hand wrapping, and yes, he did practice throwing punches around as well before he left me on my own to develop further. So Will, thank you very much for this most awesome gift. Much appreciated. Namaste. And thank you. After I had grokked the basics, buoyed by AC/DC's Back in Black and the Beastie Boys' Ill Communication, I managed to teach myself balancing, coordination, and combo punch moves. Yes, at first it was super awkward, and I was like, oh my god, what am I doing? But eventually, with baby steps, I managed to find my groove, and now the moves seem to flow rather naturally. In terms of hand wrapping, my method is pretty simple. First I hook the thumb, and then let instinct guide where the ribbon goes. So without further ado, shall we? But before that, we must get Bob all ready. Da-da-da, the great reveal. And here are the wraps. There are 2 of them. And for this portion, I'm going to zoom in a bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, and in case you're wondering what it says on my shirt, in case you can't read it, of course, the effect is much better if you can, but in case you can't, what it says is, always be yourself. Unless you can be a Viking, then always be a Viking. I totally agree with that. And relevant to the t-shirt, here we have my Odin symbol wolf necklace. And interestingly enough, before lockdown measures increased and places like hair salons were placed on the non-essential services list, the weekend before this all happened, I was inspired by the universe to visit my hairdresser and get myself a bit of an undercut, keeping in line with my Viking heroes, of course. And I know I don't look like a typical Viking, but hey, the way I see it, doesn't matter what we look like on the outside, it's what beats in our hearts that counts the most. Am I right? Before we move on to wrapping, I'll give you a quick close-up of this undercut in case you can't see it. So, here. Check it. I know it's not the most feminine thing in the world, but hey, I like it, and that's all that counts, right? What has been neat, though, is trying to figure out how to maintain this thing while hair salons are still closed. What I've been using is pretty basic. Instead of an actual hair trimmer, I've been using a beard trimmer. And basically, using the beard trimmer and following downward, following the line that my hairdresser created about a month ago. Anyway, I digress with all that Viking stuff, but thought I'd throw it in just for interest. Let's get back to some hand wrapping, shall we? Wrap number 1. I guess it's advisable to ensure that it's not all wrinkled and folded over before starting. We'll just quickly do that. And we have a Velcro side that locks it all up, and one side that has a little loop for the thumb. And as I mentioned, my method is super basic. What I do is take the loop, hook my thumb, and show you here. On one side there's a seam, and the other side it's seamless. And what we want to do, hook it such that the seam side is on the inside. And what I like to do is wrap away from my thumb. And what we're looking to do first of all is secure the wrist. The wrist has many little bones that move around upon impact with what's being punched. So we don't want to make it too tight, but we don't want to make it too loose either. This is something you have to play with a few times. I think each time one wraps, it's different based on our dimensions, basically. So keep wrapping, do the wrist, and we come. So keep wrapping, ensure the wrist is nice and secure. And what I like to do, because I've grown accustomed to a certain boxing fist, I hold that fist very loosely and continue to wrap it. And this is the way, if I were to wear my glove, the big glove, this is basically the form my fist would take inside the bigger glove. And we'll make our way down, mummy style, the rest of our hands. And what we're aiming to do is basically ensure all of our knuckles are covered and lightly bound together. Because when we hit, upon impact, the bones or joints will spread, and we don't want that to happen. So, the knuckle, and we'll get to the thumb after. Right now, again, instinct is mostly guiding the way, but since I'm speaking with you and I'm conscious of what's happening, some of me is at play here too. So this is a very basic wrap. There is another method or another technique where each knuckle is wrapped separately, and in another video I'll show you how I do that. But for now, as you can see, the main knuckle and the second set, even a little bit of the third set, are all covered. Actually, I'm going to do one more around this way, so when I bend, here we go. Okay, so this is going to be the surface that's mostly impacted when we punch. And bring it back up. And here we have the thumb that's being covered. And let's try that again. There you go. Go. Ideally, we'd like for it to be secured around the wrist, but recently I've been playing with this diagonal wrap that wraps wraps somewhat under the thumb area and over top the front of my fist. And the last couple times I've practiced this way, there's been no negative effects, so it seems to work. So long as the knuckles are covered and all of the joints are secure, that's the main point, I think. Now we're going to try with the other hand. And wrapping my right hand with my left hand is a little bit more challenging because I am primarily right-handed, although I do play with becoming ambidextrous. You know, keep things moving, keep things interesting, always striving to grow. As someone told me today, even if we grow 1% each day by the end of the year, think about how much we would have gained. And I think that's a great approach to anything, basically, that seems like a huge challenge. Just take it baby steps, 1% at a time, and before you know it, you just climbed a mountain. It's pretty freaking neat, I think. Okay, so, again, hook. So again, we're going to hook the thumb, inside, down, and we're wrapping away from the thumb, basically. And wrapping the wrist. Take it again. Again. And we're going to slowly make our way down the rest of the hand. See, that one wasn't too great. Okay, so and what we're looking to do is ensure nothing is buckling or bunching up, for lack of a better term, and that all of the wraps are smooth. So this one, instinct, or the energy of the wrap itself, is guiding me to go this way. So I will listen. And I'm going to loosely hold my hand in the basic shape of the fist that I make when I box. I'm going to keep going down. Now it's time to do the wrist and thumb area. That's covered. And there's that diagonal happening again, which is part of the natural flow of what this ribbon wants to do. But unlike the other one, this ribbon managed to wrap itself back around my wrist for the final loop. And that was pretty cool. So here we have it. 2 nicely bound wrists ready for action. Okay, so before I move on to showing you some of my skills, I do want to give one more shout out, which encompasses 2 people. This shout out goes to GB and Yaz from Wolf's Head channel. They recently posted a video showcasing Yaz doing some of her workout routine. It inspired me to share some of mine as well. As the saying goes, each one to teach one. So thank you, GB and Yaz, for keeping it real and giving me the little nudge I needed to share some of my routine with the rest of everyone, too. Enough respect. Thank you. And on that note, we move on to the next phase.